Good evening, lovely tubers. White Mexican back again for another Kashtira deck profile slash showcase. I've spent the last 3 months in Europe, and as you all know, I'm a big fan of European English cards, and I was able to get quite a bit out there when I was in Germany, and I just wanted to showcase my current deck build. As you know, I'm always in the lab messing around with Kashtira. It's one of my all-time favorites. We're going to go ahead and just get right into it. The first upgrade is going to be these Ultimate Rare Infinite Impermanents. These are European English, so they got the really cool super holofoil, looking nice and sharp. So those were the first upgrades that I made to the deck. There's a lot of different variants to this. There's like the super spiral foil, and then there's like the faded, dull, kind of crappy one. It's a lot harder to find these ones specifically. OTS in Europe is a little weird for English print. It's a little bit harder to get because, again, they're mostly being manufactured there in, well, all of them actually go through Belgium. But anyway, so that's the first upgrade. Those are super cool. And then another thing is going to be this terraforming. So this is European English terraforming in all its glory. It's a lot more predominant. You can see the holofoiling indentations here a lot better in the Euro English stuff. So really great stuff. And then of course I was able to finish my playset of Ultimate Rare European English Fenrir. I will admit the North American print for the actual good one with the super spiral foiling, it's a little bit more predominant, a little bit more shiny than the Euro English one. However, this one is darker, has that dark ink. You can definitely tell with European English that has a darker ink, which is more my style. But I appreciate both of the North American ones, specifically for this card, because they did very well for the actual ones that they printed in the super spiral foil. So, okay. Enough about that. I'm going to get really quick into the deck profile. So, only 3 traps, obviously the impermanents. Moving into the magic cards, we have the one-ofs, we have the Alti Terraforming, 1 crossout, 1, this is also European English, so you can see it's a bit darker. It's hard to see without a frame reference, but this is Triple T, Euro English. We have 1 Called By. All of these are all European English for the cash sets, so Triple Pressure Planet, Triple Birth, and Triple Theosis. A lot of people, there's a lot of kind of talk going on right now as far as if you should play 2 Theosis or 3 Theosis and 2 Birth. And I don't know, I feel like a lot of cash players right now in the modern times, they're cutting this down to 2 and 2 or maybe 3 and 2. These are powerhouse cards. I really think that you need these. I mean, this is an e-tele for cash bodies. This card is just insane. I personally don't really run into issues about drawing multiples very frequently. They are searchable, yes, but these are like the bread and butter of your core. They really start your core and really make this deck special and kind of the powerhouse deck that it is with these cards. So I really personally, White Mexican style, I would not be cutting these powerhouse cards, but that's just me personally. Just the same with Pressure Planet, even though you are rocking 1 searcher with the terraforming. It's just such a combo starting card, and you really need to max out on its accessibility. So again, that is the Magic lineup. Addition, like major change for me specifically, I've always played 3 Imperm. That's pretty standard. The 1-in-1 is pretty standard. This crossout is an additional. I was actually trying to get, I'm a big fan of original print, so I was actually trying to get the, I believe they were ultra rares out of the 2019 or 2020 Megatins, or maybe it was 2021 Megatins. I think it was 2021 anyway, as an ultra rare. So it's interesting that the original print is actually something that's more likely a reprint like tins, but the original print is the ultra rares from those tins from 2021, I believe. But it didn't really work out. Was ordering the majority of the Euro English stuff off Card Market, and there's just like a bunch of extra costs and taxes and fees, and it's just a giant mess, and the whole payment system's like really rigged and just super weird and like inconvenient, so it really wasn't worth it. I already had a playset of these Prismatic Secrets, which I think, you know, besides maybe the QCR, is just, you know, just gorgeous. It's fine enough. So That was the addition, though. That was a major change there. I actually cut the 7 stars for draw power. Since this is very highly, rightfully so, a drill format, I took out the upstarts and then took out the 7 stars. And, you know, as you'll see kind of with the hand trap lineup, this is just a lot more, gives you a lot more flexibility. So, again, then the 3 ofs for the cash powerhouse engines. And that's going to be all for the Magics. Moving into the actual bodies. Well, the body lineup hasn't really changed too much. It's just a 1 card change. So I'll actually go into the hand traps. It is a lower count. I know a lot of cash players have kind of converted now to this modern times for Fiendsmith engine, doing kind of a dual split and then making their hand trap count to about 18 to 20, which, you know, I do like. I actually just did pick up an original rarity set of the Fiendsmith cards, and I've been trying to kind of experiment with them, but as of right now, I'm just a lot more comfortable and adjusted to the pure build. And even though its success rate isn't super high right now, it's always kind of a dice roll with this deck. It's a lot slower than a lot of the modern decks. It's still super fun, and I just finished pretty much almost completely maxing out with, you know, high rarity and your English print and all like the specifications that I like personally. So I believe it's, again, 13 hand traps. It's a single nib. This is also European English. I did not actually pick this up in Europe. This was actually picked up at, I believe it was YCS in Raleigh, North Carolina. So it was a couple of years back. But I was able to get a playset of these. A lot more predominant. It's kind of hard to see on the camera here, but, you know, they have like a lot more of the silver embroidering on the outline of the card, and it's just, you know, super amazing and awesome. So just gorgeous. I'm actually running the single. Actually, you know what? Is this the side? No. Okay, so this is inside. Okay, so the 1 nib, high roller here, doing the 1 shifter. You know, if you get it, you get it. If you don't, it is kind of a neg 1, but if you get it, it's pretty blowout depending on your matchup. I know that there is Malice running around, but I think it's worth it. For everything else, this is like a really juicy hit if you're not going against Malice, and it's just the 1-of shotgun card. 1 single Meows. Normally this is ran on the side, but again, I'm going for diversification, and if someone has just that random, you know, they're siding random going second cards like me in the first game, this is where the versatility of the crossout becomes necessary, and I know it's very popular in this format for that reason specifically, because I have the 1 rock, because I have the 1 Meowls, because I have the 1 Perulia, and then of course the standard Flowels. But again, so those are the 1-ofs: 1 Nibiru, 1 Meowls, 1 Perulia, 1 shifter, triple of Flowels, because it goes without saying, this card is just, it puts in work. And primarily the whole theory behind this is I'm super unlucky, and I tend to lose dice rolls more often than not. I feel like my dice roll win rate is like less than 50%. So I did want to have options to kind of, since this deck is kind of, it's slower, it needs to play the catch-up game. Especially when you lose the dice roll, I wanted to have a little bit more advantage, and that's why I went for these a little bit more impactful going second hand traps, just in case. I do like use the dice roll, like the Melcharmies and the Nibiru. Triple Ash, it is a once per turn, but just like Imperm and just like Droll, they're pretty much all being ran at 3-ofs right now, because they're just really impactful cards. More so, I'd probably say Droll, just because this can lock out a whole search mechanic, which is just insane. Also, quick note before I forget, this is also very much a showcasing as well. I was able to get my 3rd Ash. These are original Maximum Crisis First Edition Secret. So, very similar to ours in North America. They're just a darker print, and they just look gorgeous, and I was super happy to pick up my 3rd copy. So now they are all clean cut and uniform. Just the same with these Droll and Lockbirds. These are European English, so again, they have like the super like melted mercury looking borderlines. Melted nickel looks really cool. Completely different. This one is a huge difference, just like the Imperms. Like, you can really tell on these ones. Just the foiling quality on this is just insane. Like, this card looks like almost out of a GX era North American print Ultima. It just looks really, really great. These are actually pretty pricey and pretty difficult to find in play sets, but I was lucky enough to find a shop who procced a play set, and they just are gorgeous, and I love them, and it's a super popular card right now, so packing a play set. So that's the hand traps. Moving on to the main body lineup. Pretty standard. There's only one change, and you guys will see here. So triple Fenrir. Again, I was able to cop my last European English to unify my 3 alties. All these are all, of course, European English as well. Original prints. Trip Riseheart, Trip Uni, and only 2. So I was playing 3, and I got a lot of hate for it because people say this card at 2 or 3 is like just, you know, brick fodder. It's really, really not. You'll find yourself, if you're like a true blue Kashtira player, you'll find yourself OTKing very, very quickly with 2 of these. It's just such a powerhouse card. It's a 26 beater. It turns off effects. The turn off effects is the powerhouse. Is really kind of the hidden talent of this card, which by now, especially because of a couple formats ago, Tenpai was super big. Everyone kind of knows about the secret cutoff effect here with Scareclaw, but it's just super good. The main reason why I'm not playing 3 anymore is not because I devalue this card. I don't think it's super great. This card is awesome. I would love to play 3. It's just that it's really, really tight for the hand trap lineup. Again, I had the addition of swapping out for the cross designator, and I wanted the versatility for that card, so I was trying to pack in more hand traps, again, specifically if you lose the dice roll. So that's ending up being the rationale or kind of logic behind why I ended up cutting this from 3 down to 2. But 2 has been working good enough in my personal opinion. Same thing with Riseheart. I know some people play 1, some people play 2. This is just such a great combo starter. Usually, you know, if you're ideally going to open up with either Fenrir or Uni, and if you get hand trapped, this card really can help you offset for that, and you end up getting into your Shang play. And again, speaking of extra deck, I'm going to get into the extra deck now as a quick transition. I do play 3 Shang era. I know that sounds kind of excessive. People really try to give me a lot of feedback on this and say, like, that's way too much. You'll need 1, 2 at max. Which, ideally, you know, the only really concern that you're going to be running into is, you know, someone who's playing... No one's really playing pure cash anymore. Like I said, the popular build is either going to be a blend that people want the powerhouse of Unicorn. Unicorn's super powerful in this format because some extra deck cards are at 1. Talking about Uriziel. So you don't have to really worry about this getting ripped, and ideally when they're looking at your extra deck, it's usually not even the card that they're afraid of. But my whole theory is this card is it's a force multiplier. As soon as you have this on the board, this card forces your opponent to respond to this card. If they don't respond to this card, every single turn you get more than 1 resource. You get your Unicorn, you get your Fenrirs. You can even get your Scareclaw, or if you're in a pinch, you can go for your Riseheart. Obviously, you don't want to summon out Riseheart on your opponent's turn because it doesn't really, you know, it makes it harder to use. Well, you can't use its effect because you have to use its effect at special summon. But this is such a powerhouse card. This is really, really great. It forces out the Ash, it forces out the Imperm, it forces out the Handies. Because if your opponent doesn't respond to this, it's a bad situation for them. Should you play 3? Not necessarily. It's just right now, the extra deck really isn't super tight. I'm not super creative when it comes to this extra deck. I've been running the same extra deck for quite some time now. There's probably 1-2 card range differences when I'm changing builds. I really do like the Heat Soul package, and I'm actually thinking about now because Kashtira has been forced into kind of this catch-up game in modern Yu-Gi-Oh! Where we have to play a lot of hand traps. I do appreciate the Heat Soul build because if you're not going for removal control, as in like banishment, remove cards from play with like Fisher and, you know, Cosmos, or even Shifter, because you need your graveyard, Heat Soul is a great option. It does take a pretty significant chunk of your extra deck up though, which is, you know, I'm not really trying to deal with that that commitment right now as far as that much space. However, for right now, just for, you know, a showcasing and for what it is, I'm just running it at 3. But continuing on here, with the rest of the extra deck is going to be a single copy of Blaze, Supreme Ruler of all dragons. This is also Euro print too. I forgot to say, I mean, I've had these forever, but these are the original print supers, Euro English print, so they're just darker, super cool. This is also the original print of, well, actually, I think it's not the original print, because I believe this was a prize card, but anyway, this is like the first normal print as a secret out of Battles of Legends, and it's darker, Euro English, so super cool. I talked to a good buddy of mine. He's like really a fan of Annihilation, which I have 2 Annihilations in here. I just have this in here as a one-of because it does not target. The destruction for this card does not target, so it just gives you a little bit more versatility. Is it really worth it? Well, that's debatable, that's subjective, but I really like it. Plus, he looks like a total baddie. One Draco Sack. Again, I'm not playing the Heat Soul build as of right now, but this is just great. Great versatility. It helps again. I mean, even though skill drain is more kind of a plus for you in certain matchups, you know, you can get around certain floodgates by tripping it off and doing a set destruction. One single Big Eye, super great, especially if anyone wants to run any kind of cash engine blending. You can take some pretty critical pieces and punish them for that. This is also European English, so this is a quarter century. I'm actually trying to find the stamp. I can't really see the stamp. I guess it's like right there, so it's kind of, I thought it was Starlight at first, but they haven't made that yet. So yeah, QCR, so original here, QCR, really nice. You know, you can see it's got the darker ink, which is really fun, so super awesome to have that. I looked into Euro English variants of Zeus. This is the ultimate rare. I know it's kind of hard to tell because Konami did a really crappy job, and this is also, these are triple sleeve. That's also why my extra deck literally looks like the same size as my main deck, because it's just super fat. But it's like looking at pictures and like talking to sellers on Card Market when I was over there in Europe, like it wasn't significant change. I didn't really see a significant pop out on the foiling or any kind of big major differentiation between the hollow foiling and like the coloring and stuff and like the tone of the ink. And again, it's like a pain in the butt using Card Market because you have to like message the seller, and then you got to get them to send pictures, and then you got to verify the pictures, and then sometimes, depending on if it's like a crappy quality picture, you really can't verify, because they don't get confused. Card Market, if you guys have any experience with it, I mean, they have North American print cards too. And some of them put like little notes that say like, you know, Europrint or NA or like Ameri, you know, Germans like to say Ameri, that's like American print, North American print. But not all those are super accurate. Some Europeans just don't know the difference, and they listen incorrectly, and that's why I personally, every time I've used it, I've only used Card Market twice, and you know, you have to ask for photos, you have to verify. Yes, it's time consuming. Yes, it's really annoying. Some sellers just, you know, don't want to take the time to send you photos, which is totally understandable, but they're not going to get the business, because when you're going for these high-end like OTS Alti staples and extra deck Altis and Ghosts and whatever have you, well, not Ghosts because that doesn't make a difference between an A and Europrint. It really matters. Like if you're going to dump the money and shovel out the cash, like you need to communicate with the sellers and make sure you're getting exactly what you want, because it makes all the difference. 2 Dark Arms, 3 Flare. Again, this is kind of excessive. There was a time when I cut this down to 2. I wouldn't cut it down to 1. I know it's really popular just to have a 1-of to burn for time, but if I'm going to burn, I usually like to bring out 2 of these, and that really debates. It makes your opponent debate on getting rid of 1 or both, using all the resources to get a 1 or get rid of both before they can actually combo off, especially when you're going into that game 3 and it's a grind game. And this card is just gorgeous. It's a Ghost Rare, first edition original, and it's just, you know, completely gorgeous, so how could I not? But again, that's kind of white Mexican theory. That's kind of my fault. I like double down, or triple down, I guess, on the cards that I really like, and I think that add great value to the longevity of the duel. This thing's falling all over the place. Of course, 1 SP. This is not Euro English, unfortunately. I was kind of late on the game to get this. They were super cheap over there. I think they were selling for like 15-10 euros for the original first edition secret. That's some real Yu-Gi-Ohs for you. You know, this used to be like a $90-$100 card, and now they're selling them left and right for like 15 euros. And then the last thing was the Chen Yang. This as well is North American. I was thinking about getting it, but for some reason, at least like a couple months back, this card was like 10, 15 bucks. Like, and this card was like nothing for the longest time. It was like $1, $2, even if that. So I wasn't about to like pay like triple tax on it just to have a little darker ink. And I know almost little to never go into this. It's just too good not to run. With this build specifically, since we lost Baron, I mean, really the only opportunity that you're going to have is Ash. Some people like to side in or main one Bell or one Ogre, which obviously could get you there, but right now it's just Ash for me. Also, I was digging through my storage and I found these original card sleeves. These were the first card sleeves I ever had as a kid, like old school Yu-Gi-Oh! When I first started back in like 2002, 2003 era. Super, super Gen 1, super nostalgic. I don't recommend these as an extra deck thing. This is actually 3 sleeves. It's 2 Ultra Pros with, well, actually I guess they're all Ultra Pro. But the thing about these is these were like some of the first Yu-Gi-Oh! Sized Ultra Pro sleeves. They're like really nostalgic and kind of collectible now. Obviously these are like not in the greatest condition. They're super used because again, like these are the first sleeves I ever got as a kid. So I've literally had these for like 23 years. They're insanely nostalgic and special to me. And that was kind of why I wanted to use them. But the thing is like they're pretty big. It's weird. They're like a medium sleeve. They're too big to just have no undersleeve, but they're also kind of really tight. Like it took me forever. It probably took me like 10 minutes just to like re-sleeve my extra deck because I was putting it in an Ultra Pro sleeve, and then I was putting it in the old nostalgic gold sleeve, and then I was putting a standard bigger sleeve over the top. So it is triple sleeve. That's why again it looks like a thick sandwich here. But super nostalgic, really cool. Super happy I found these. And again, that's just, you know, some cool white Mexican history. All right. Of course, over here I have my super Edison-like retro Gorge tokens. I just use these. I just like tokens. Sometimes it confuses your opponent, so just make sure you don't, respect them and clarify, hey, this is not a token. I'm just locking your zone, doing some shenanigans, because that's still a thing. So many people forget about, the flexibility. Another reason to run Shang as a multiple, really, really cool. Sometimes you can cheese out multiple zones and completely lock out your opponent. It doesn't happen very often, but I do pack 10 of these to lock out potentially 10 zones, and I just like Gores. It's a super cool old token, and it's a good little placeholder. And then finally is going to be the extra side deck. So for going first, this is actually kind of a little non-conventional. I normally don't like to play more than 6 going first cards, ideally more like 3. But again, because it is very hand trap heavy, and it's kind of a dice roll if Kashtira is going to get to go first right now. It's always a dice roll, I guess. This is Makeshift Judgment. It's pretty much Judgment, except for you guys. I'm back on this again. I've used this card like on and off throughout the years. Really, really love this card. It's basically just, it takes your Judgment and it makes it multiplied by 2. So you have 6 Judgments. All you have to do is you have to proc off a Psychic, which is eligible for everything, including Shangira. The only body that's not, of course, is going to be your Rise Heart, being a warrior. So evenly matches, and any other kind of blowout, Heartbeast, Feather Duster, just super, super pesky cards. You can hopefully draw into 1 out of 6 and protect yourself going first. Some more going first cards. It's going to be Fisher. There's a lot of different kind of rationale behind this. This is another thing that I've gotten kind of like pooped on before, or have for quite some time. A lot of people don't like this anymore. These are Euro English, so I messed up. I thought I had a playset of these. They're all like the original Legendary Collection Secret Rares. Legendary Collection GX specifically, because there was like Raw Yellow Mega Pack or something like that too around this time. But these are the Euro ones. You can tell like the foiling's just even different on this one. Like this one's like a lot more predominant. Like these are the Euro English ones. This is the North America one. a lot darker and different, you know, secret rare layering. This one's like a little bit like more sparkly, but it's more faded, where this one's like super sparkly, but it's like just more predominant in certain areas. So I thought I had 2 already Euro English, and then I ordered just 1 when I ended up only having 1 Euro English. So I screwed myself, and now I'm playing Mishmatch. I have 2 and 1, so I'm on the hunt for, this is one of the last things I need Euro English, is I need 1 more original, or 1 more Secret First Legendary Collection GX Fisher. So that kind of sucks, but, you know, it is what it is. At least I have, you know, 2 instead of 1 now. Another thing, too, that is kind of crazy is, I mean, obviously, so I was playing Effect Veiler. One of the reasons why I took Effect Veiler out, because it just wasn't doing enough. It wasn't impactful enough. Obviously, you can't play this under Effect Veiler. Same thing with Ogre. I was playing Ogre as a 1-of in the main with triple, actually I have them over here, with triple of these guys, and it's just, you know, it conflicts and it wasn't working, and I don't know, like, Effect Veiler is great because it's kind of like taking Imperm and multiplying times 2 and having 6 Imperms of sorts. You know, obviously Imperm is better because you can't get talents with Imperm, and, you know, you can set it and completely shut a card off depending on, you know, when you use it and stuff. Anyway, that was one of the major changes in the lineup. I cut the Ogre, cut the Veilers, because I did want to keep the Fishers in the side, which obviously you cannot. It does conflict, obviously, with the Droll and Lockbirds in the main, but again, that's why Droll and Lockbirds are the main for game 1, and these are sided in. And even so, there are certain critical pinches when I would actually side these in and play the Droll still, but they do conflict, and you just have to be really tactical and, you know, be careful about that. But really great. Again, Blue Eyes. Anything, I in my opinion right now, and again, like, why I'm such a fan about this card, why I don't main it anymore. For the longest time I was maining it, but the thing is, like, I'm afraid of losing the dice roll again because I'm super unlucky, and I usually, like, have to be forced to go second game 1. And so that's why it's in the side, because it's kind of dead if you're not going first, and then it's in there so when I need it, depending on the matchup, like Blue Eyes, or a really heavy graveyard deck like Memento or something, you can go ahead and hopefully open it. This protects you against Droll, protects you against Veiler, Ogre if people are playing it, but then you can really just completely shut down decks, and then you back it up with this. Hopefully they don't have, you know, a Harpy's Feather Duster and evenly match, and if they do, hopefully you can proc 2 of the 6-ofs. But either way, it's super really great. You know, really Malice is the only, you know, deck that's not going to care about that. Everything else is pretty tight. So okay, so the other 2 Meows, there's one in the main, the other 2 here, and the other 2 Perilia, because there's one in the main, and then of course the other 2 Nibiru. Now, I know that there's ways for some pretty powerhouse decks to kind of get around this. It just makes me feel better having 3 Droll in the main, which is like really high impact if it goes off, as long as he doesn't get like crossed out or called by. It's super great. And then that was kind of another reason too why I cut Veiler, is because I feel like Droll and the Malcharmies, especially going second, and Nibiru are just a lot more impactful, and they just give you a lot more grind and a lot more longevity if they actually get the opportunity to fire off. So that is the side deck. I know that was probably super over elongated, but I just wanted to kind of showcase the minor changes and the upgrades with the rarity bumps, as well as the European English cards that I was able to cop up. That is not all the European English cards that I copped up. I copped up a whole bunch of stuff, and I'll be doing another showcase here shortly that I'm super excited about, which I'm actually going to give you guys a little hint here for. As you all know, I'm an adamant fan of this deck, and that is going to be a quick little hint here for the next deck profile. Thank you so much for joining me tonight. I hope you guys are making some fantastic Yu-Gi-Oh! Investments yourself. This has been a showcasing by Autumn Zeller. My name is the White Mexican, and I'll see you in the next video.